Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman, without any other description right there, which means we have to look over here. Batman, The Dark Knight Returns Batman. That way you know. For you inbox collectors, I'm sorry, almost all of your packaging doesn't have any description on the front. I'm sorry. Can we also just take a minute to note that it says collect to build a horse. Not Batman's horse or the horse, just a horse. There's something comedic about that. Tell me you guys aren't giggling a little bit right now. I am, on the inside. Anyway, this figure was, I'm pretty sure it was a troll again, because I was told, hey, this is the best figure McFarlane's released. The best Batman by far. It's excellent. It's perfect. It's so good. And I got it just so that I could review it because everybody said how good it was. And now I'm thinking, once again, I was trolled because it's nowhere near as good as some of the other Batman figures, and frankly, it's not that good at all. There's a lot wrong with it. There's a couple things that are good about it, but mostly it's a giant not good. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about let's say 7 1/8 inches tall, which makes him pretty close to 18 centimeters. And okay, before we get into anything else, we'll just do a quick question of the day. Are you a fan of Frank Miller's design, the short, fat, squatty Batman? I call it Fat Batman, and fanboys get mad every time, but you know what I'm referring to. It's the Frank Miller version where he's all squatty. I don't really care for the storyline, but I like the design. I like the Batman, the old, grizzled, kind of squatty Batman. I like it a lot. And this just doesn't look like it. We're going to start off, I'm coming out of the gates hot on this one because of you guys trolling me. This is the worst interpretation of this Batman that I've seen in figure form. Mafex did it better, and I don't care about price, but I'm just talking about accuracy to the source material, not quality of engineering or anything like that. Mafex did it better, Mattel did it better, Mezco did it better, even Play Arts Kai did it better. All of those had their own interpretation, though Mafex I think is the closest to the actual source material. They've all had some sort of interpretation, some sort of slight tweaks in stylization. This is by far the worst. The proportioning on this thing is all over the place. It's bonkers how goofy this looks. His legs are so long compared to the rest of his body. His shoulders are low. His chest is tiny. It's a disaster. How are you guys telling me this is the best one? The articulation doesn't work well either. We'll get to that, but this doesn't look anything like the source material. Look where the head is placed. He's perpetually like leaning backwards above the waist, got his head stuck forward. He's just got this really, really weird posture with low shoulders. And it's not like you can adjust them enough to make a difference. It's so weird looking. His upper arms are tiny short. His lower arms are super long. His legs are just freaking gigantically long compared to the rest of his body. Like if you do this again, it looks passable. And if you do this again, though they're just legs, they make sense. But put them together and it's like two different figures again. I don't know what's going on at McFarlane Toys. They don't either, apparently. This is freaking weird. I'll do a Photoshop for you guys. I know you like it, but this is weird. As far as paint on the figure, it's non-existent other than the face. We're talking molded plastic everywhere. No detail work, no shading. It is wrinkly, so that's appropriate. That's fine. It suits the source material. But good grief, this is a weird looking figure. So I almost forgot to mention that the cape itself is actually sculpted terribly. It looks okay at the top, but at the bottom, there's like a million folds, and they're all paper thin and flat, and there's like no sculpt work to it. It's like I don't know, it's like a coin. What's that called? A relief? I can't think of what that's called now, but where it's like a full sculpt, but it's just flattened. We have all of these different folds and creases and things, and it's just basically completely flat. There's no thickness to the cape at all. So it looks pretty ridiculous from the back. Not that you're going to see that all the time, and it's not super noticeable from the front, but they didn't bother like giving him any cape, which is weird. Let me give you an example. Maybe it's not showing up as well. See how this one has some depth to the folds? It's not super thick, but the folds are actually folds and wrinkles. This one has zero depth. It's paper thin. It's an origami cape. What the heck? I will say I like what they're doing with their heads. Mostly the paint jobs are nice. It's a little bit much, I think, with the lip color, but it's not bad. The teeth could be a little better, but still, it's better than just basic crap paint jobs that we normally see. So, I think the paint job's fine. And even then, this head is fairly stylized. So, it's like the whole thing is either super stylized or just way off base. But even if it is stylized, you still have to follow certain rules. This figure does not. His proportioning is weird. He's got like, instead of actually being hunched over like that classic look where his knees are slightly bent and he is hunched over a little bit, they took the hunched over pose, looked at it directly from the front, and sculpted him like that. Like the silhouette of that is this guy's body. Somehow they built a hunch into his body without him actually being hunched over. It's so strange looking. You'll see in the Photoshop how much better it looks. So aesthetically speaking, I'm going to give this guy a generous 4 out of 10. Now, as far as accessories go, he does have the 2 gripping hands that come on him in the package, but we also get 2 fist hands, which I think is an essential thing for Batman, so I love that. We get his grappling hook and rope, which is just sculpted for him to hold in like the iconic I'm about to use it pose, which is fine. I think that's acceptable. That's okay. It is just solid black plastic, again, with no detail at all, so it looks pretty crappy, but I guess that's okay. Speaking of crappy black plastic, we get one of the display stands. And then lastly, we get his trading card, which just features his giant legs and like an open crotch shot, which is kind of strange. So, Photoshop on these things is getting kind of nuts. But we get that. So, okay, accessories, 4 out of 10. The horse, the Build-A-Figure horse is nice. I've seen it, and I have like half of it, but it's not an accessory, it's a Build-A-Figure, and you're paying for it, so it doesn't count. Okay, so let's talk about the articulation on this guy. The head can look up and down, that's fine. It's on a double ball peg, it leans to the side, that's good, full rotation, no problems there. Shoulders, the inner ball that lets the arm shift around does barely anything, almost nothing, so that's kind of crap. Going out to the side, the hinge is nice, so that's good, I'll give him that, I like that. Full rotation, no problem there, other than where the cape is. No bicep swivel, that's already a knock right there. He's got short, stumpy arms and no bicep swivel? Why? Single jointed elbow gives you just 90 degrees, that's passable. And then you get your rotation out of that, which again, it would be passable, except it doesn't need to be there. It's not necessary. So you just lose the functionality of that bicep swivel, and he has an ugly joint. So that's not great. A single joint swivel is not preferable to a bicep swivel and a double jointed elbow. The ball hinge in the wrist is fine. It's appropriately sized, so that'll be okay. The torso articulation, I can't get this one to move as far as leaning goes, really at all. This one leans back a little bit. It leans forward just a little bit. That top joint just doesn't want to do anything but rotate. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but it's very annoying. And the bottom joint doesn't have much range, so very, very little range in the torso. For the hips, they go out to the side pretty far. I'd say that's far enough to call them splits, so I like that. That's pretty good. His are not loose and floppy, so that's good. Bringing the leg forward, that's as far as you're going to get, really, because of the way they did the diaper in the leg. It's pretty limited. Butt cheeks, whoa! He doesn't have much in the way of butt cheeks, but he's got butt crack for days. Damn. That is a lot of... I think I can see what he ate for lunch. That is something else right there. Holy macaroni. So we have that. There is a tiny bit of a thigh swivel built into the hip, but you get a proper thigh swivel all the way up here, which is fine by me. That's good. That works. Double jointed knee does work nicely. This is one of the better looking knees they've done. It's not all cut to crap like they normally do, so that's okay. And then for the ankles, we have the really heavy ratcheted. Basically 2 positions. I mean, it's technically 3, but practically speaking, you get 2 positions on that ankle. Because one's like a half notch. It's not even technically hitting that notch in the front, so very limited usability there. Ball hinge should be the best way to do an ankle. It gives you a perfect rocker, but the way they're doing the heavy ratchets, it's not good. You cannot find like a neutral pose for these things. It's so annoying. Toe hinge is well placed and it's sturdy. I like that. I don't know why they cut the sole out. I prefer it to be a smooth sculpt so you don't have that gap. And there's really no need for that gap. So many companies leave the sole there, like that little edge. You don't need that. Just go all the way down with the curve so that it doesn't have this weird cutout. But either way, that's a good toe hinge. Good example of a toe hinge. So his articulation is lacking in a lot of ways and it's okay in others. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It's not bad, but in other ways it is. So, like, his torso sucks and his ankles are still ratcheted and limited arm range for no reason. Yeah, whoever told me, and it was a bunch of people, told me this is the best thing since sliced Batman figures from McFarlane. This is not a good one. I don't know what people are talking about. Do they just like that it's Fat Batman? I like Fat Batman too, but let's be real here. This doesn't match the source material, and it's not made well, regardless. So, final verdict on this figure is 5 out. I'll go 5. I'll go 5 out of 10. Giving some credit for artistic interpretation, but it's like the uncanny valley of the source material, because it's not different enough to be artistic interpretation. It's just not good. So I'm fairly disappointed with this, because I really like the Fat Batman look, and I didn't mind adding another one to the collection, but this one doesn't look right at all. And maybe you can pose away some of it, but not really, because the articulation is kind of crappy too. So let me know how you guys feel about it in the comment section below. Also, I am doing pinned comments from now on, at least one comment from every video. If you guys say something particularly clever or funny or nice or something, and I'm not like fishing for compliments. I'm not just gonna give people a pinned comment if they say Anthony's amazing. I mean, not always anyway. So anyway, I'm going to do that. So if you guys are active participatory viewers, then you may get slight recognition. That doesn't really amount to much, but hey, it's the best I can do. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you really hated it, go ahead and share it and let everybody know how bad it was. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. In the meantime, keep collecting.